mic in the center. But welcome, you guys.
Oh, maybe I should sit on this side so we've got matching.
Oh,
all right, let's do it.
Welcome. Here you go.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Let's make sure these mics are hot.
Hot.
Hello, hello.
I'm gonna start singing here in a minute. That's what I started out on. Hand me a microphone. It's on.
Ready to go.
It's
Nice and
on.
hot. Well, welcome. And we were just warming up the crowd for you guys. And for the parents in the room who may not know, could you tell us about who you are and a little bit about yourselves?
Yeah.
All right. Hi guys. So glad you're here. It's a great crowd. Are you enjoying Megacon so far? It's my first Megacon, so I'm super excited. This has been amazing already. I'm looking forward to the rest of the weekend. If you don't know me already, my name is Stephanie Nadolny. I'm an OG voice actor for Dragon Ball Z. Kid Goku, Gohan, it's Gohan, and Baby Trunks, KO from OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. And it's great to be back. I'm officially, it's been announced for a while now, I am Kid Goku in Goku Mini in Dragonball Daima. Great to be back. Finally gotten to meet in person.
It's crazy because not only are we meeting for the first time as castmates, but I get to meet someone who is an absolute freaking legend, guys. I mean, give it up for Stephanie.
We're really having a good time hanging out.
It's crazy. I mean, just a comment real quick, you know, to when I found out well, first off, I'm Paul Castro Jr. I voiced Vegeta Mini in Dragon Ball Daima, as well as a bunch of other characters in Hibiki Sakurama and Gogo Loser Ranger, Fremine in Genshin Impact, Opal and Honkai Star Rail, Rindo and Neo the World Ends With You, Yu-Gi-Oh! In the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links Go Rush, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, and a bunch of other characters I'm forgetting right now, of course. But when I found out I got to do this and to do it with Stephanie, it was an absolute dream come true. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show.
Crunchyroll Premium.
Yes.
But enjoy Megacon and you can do all of that stuff later.
That is what I feel like we're seeing history being made. You're meeting for the first time together because I don't know if you guys know, when you're voice acting, you're recording either at home or in a booth separately and not together. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize. So I'm so glad you guys are finally here together.
Yes.
Goku and Vegeta.
Thank you, Orlando.
Little minis. Little minis.
So you guys are a part of, I think, one of the most incredible projects. It's one of Akira Toriyama's last projects. And how has that been for you guys? I mean, to be part of history and to be part of coming back into Dragon Ball.
For me personally, it's great to be back. My characters all grew up, and I wasn't in Kaiju Super, and then Toei Japan reached out and wanted me to come in to read for it. I guess they wanted to make sure I could still produce that voice. And for me, it's like a second language. It's like, you know, Goku, that's who he is, and it's just part of who I am. So I got the call soon after to come back for Daima. Couldn't talk about it for a while, and it was announced at New York Comic Con last October. Well, I mean, the trailer had my voice, so it's kind of like a little, hey, do you recognize this? So I still didn't talk about it. I'm like, it's hard for me to not talk about anything. So yeah, it's just been cathartic and bittersweet, and I'm still reeling, and I'm just super humbled. And my fans, you guys are my anime babies. I'm officially accepting the role of anime mom. So I will nurture you, tell you when to clean up your room and all of that stuff. Part of your childhood, your extended childhood. So it's just surreal. And then to finally get to meet my little Vegeta Mini, it's been a real treat. Yeah, we're having a blast.
I mean, for me, it's like I still don't even feel it's real. Like they're like above, like where I'm sitting, it says my name, and then there's a picture of Vegeta. I'm like, what? How is that me? I mean, I grew up like many of you guys watching Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z was my, Adult Swim tsunami. Every night, go to bed. My mom tell me to go to, like, what is all that screaming in your room? That was me listening to Stephanie go Super Saiyan 2 and kick the crap out of Cell. Like this is like things I've dreamed of. That when you get into this career as a voice actor, you hope and pray to be able to work on a franchise and a project like this, and then work alongside people who you've idolized. When I found out about this project, I didn't even know what I was auditioning for. Like, I'm kind of a dum-dum sometimes, and I don't read everything. And so when I was auditioning for this, they were like, all right, you know what you're doing? I'm like, no, I don't. I thought this was like super NDA. They're like, yeah, but it said what you were reading for. I was like, oh crap, I didn't do that. So thankfully, being obsessed with this stuff as a child, I knew Vegeta, like Chris Sabat, Brian Drummond, these voices have lived in my head. It was kind of easy to find that personality in that pocket and that arrogant, sane Prince pride attitude really quickly. And I was lucky because I live in California, and they do the majority of Crunchyroll's dubbing in Texas, so I was very, very honored and privileged that they considered me to do this. So I still don't believe it. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. I know the first few episodes are out in dub, but it's still kind of like they might pull the carpet out from under me at any moment. So
That's true. It can happen. So we're enjoying the dream, living in the moment, right?
Exactly. You
Which
gotta.
I highly recommend for anything and everybody all the time is to live in the moment and don't stress about the past or future, and just really embrace it and live it and shine your light.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing, and we're relishing in it.
Yes, and Dragon Ball is one of those I consider a foundational piece of anime in the history of anime, because it's been ongoing and there's so many arcs, and we see the lives of these characters change throughout time, and we get to come back to these special stories like Daima. In that regard, whether you voice acted it or been a part of it or seen it, could you tell us a moment in the franchise that has stuck with you over time or that you've enjoyed the most?
I'll start, I guess, since I can go back to the OG days of original Dragon Ball. I don't know if a lot of you guys realize I started out singing as a kid and got into musical theater, and then kind of always pursued that type of thing. I was doing mimicking and voices since I was a kid. As soon as I got my first tape recorder, I was obsessed, and it was recording and listening back and defining my own character voices. And so I was doing that for fun. So I was already kind of really getting to know my voice and how malleable it was, and then throw in the singing, and it just kind of is what it is. But I voiced Gohan first. The Ocean dub was being recorded. I didn't know this at the time. In fact, when I auditioned, I didn't know what it was either, and I hadn't even heard of anime. This was 1998. And I had just been doing stuff with Chuck E. Cheese, Helen the Hen singing voice, traveling with touring show band. So when I came into it, I knew it was an animated feature, obviously it's a cartoon. So I grabbed, obviously, the sides for the females. So I auditioned for Bulma, Par, Chi-Chi. Actually, they actually had me audition for Frieza, too, later on. But they asked me, they, meaning like the three, it was like three judges, three American Idol, it's like, oh, I'm up on this podium. It's like, it was kind of high pressure. But they asked me to do the voice of a young boy, and I just rattled one off. I had stepbrothers and a big bro, and so I just kind of channeled that energy, and they said, make it raspy. So I was like, what about this? Is that raspy enough? Okay, cool. And I got the role of Gohan, and I'm like, yay! Who's Gohan, and what is this all about? Tell me the story here. And then of course, as the time went on, when I went to Europe, I would see Dragon Ball Z stuff over in Italy. They were playing Dragon Ball Z in Italy on my TV. This was probably 2000 and 2001. At my first Comic-Con was San Diego Comic-Con in 2000. I didn't even know what those were. It's just been a wonderland, and it's been life-changing, really, because the people in my life, the closest people in my life have something, most of them have something to do with Dragon Ball Z, or anime, or music. So it's been life-changing, and I'm just very grateful that I was there at the right time, right place, and that my voice was suitable for the role. I'm just forever grateful.
And you get to be here at Megacon with us.
The gift that keeps on giving, This is residuals and royalties. For us, right to work by the hour Texas people. Yeah, very fulfilling. What about you?
Yeah, what about you?
Oh my gosh, what was the question?
Yeah, at any point, whether you've done it voice acting as Vegeta or you grew up with Dragon Ball, has any moment from Dragon Ball stuck with you over time? You just go back to the moment and just loved it, that sort of thing,
I mean, I remember I can distinctly put myself into my childhood bedroom watching the show, and every moment from It's Over 9,000 to literally, like the Cell Saga, it just. I'm not even kidding you, there's moments where I was doing that scene that you were doing, dreaming that you get to just transform as this kid, which is what I think a lot of people resonate with, and just be the hero and overcome everything and save the day. man, like even just makes me emotional thinking about it. Like that stuff was so iconic, and that performance in particular. I mean, guys, am I alone here? Was that not like one of the greatest things we ever got to experience? Cell Saga, obviously, and then even for Vegeta specifically, you know, to see his growth as a character through the Buu arc, everything with Majin Vegeta, like those things for me, to see that kind of character growth, to see a character that starts off basically as your main villain in a way, to a certain degree, and then become somebody who you really root for and sympathize, and to see his growth. Obviously, Vegeta's speech to Goku sticks in my mind very, very fondly. When he calls him number one and everything like that's one of my favorite moments too. So to just be a part of that legacy and to now kind of be able to voice iconic moments in their own right, I think, especially for a newer generation getting into Dragon Ball now. For those of you guys who are watching the sub, you kind of know what I'm talking about for what's to come with my character. Yeah, I'm just excited for everybody to see it dub.
That's wonderful. I mean, we were talking in the crowd. We have people in here that were born before Yu Yu Hakusho came out, and we have a whole generation of anime lovers here in the room. And like I said, Dragon Ball is one of those fundamental pieces of anime which everybody can enjoy at some point in their lives. To kind of segue from that, though, the show, the characters are so dynamic, and they do get into a lot of their battles, and there are moments in the show in which you have to prepare yourself as a voice actor to get to those moments. How do you get ready for those moments in which there is going to be a battle or a fight, or really just start getting emotional? How do you prepare for that?
For me personally, knowing once I, was immersed in the role and been coming in regularly, that, knowing where to go with the voice and what part of the throat am I using to convey and acting behind the role. For me personally, back in the day, it was all about you show up, you don't know what you're doing at all, which is fine. I mean, I know you learn to roll with whatever it is. So for me, getting ready for, say, my session, just good sleep, lots of water, lozenges if I need it, breaks when I need them, save all the big yells and big screams for the end of the session, thankfully, rewind, fast forward, whatever we had to do, right? And and then for me too, personally, with the Cell Saga, you mentioned a couple times what I had real life experience of intense loss. When I started voicing Gohan, and it was on Cartoon Network, my mom was fighting cancer, and it came on suddenly. It was very aggressive, and we did end up losing her, unfortunately, that August. So for me, when it did come time, which she was my world, by the way, she was my biggest supporter of my entire life. So when it came time to do these emotional scenes with Goku having passed on, my mom having passed on, I had real life, experience. I'd like to give it 100% of the acting ability, but honestly, I can't, because I really did feel that those emotions of loss and grief and the screams hopefully indicated, something really authentic. So, kind of in honor of my mom, we got to share the moments of watching it for the first time on Cartoon Network when she was going through her chemo. So for me, but getting ready, honestly, it's just that the director sets it up for us. Jonathan Rigg is our director. He's a big fan. He knows the characters through and through. He's doing a fantastic job. Great chemistry with him and the ADR director. So it's a matter of him setting up the story. And now that we're doing one at a time, I kind of like just fall in, like getting on a bike.
Like getting on a bike, that's right.
Yeah, the voice just comes out. He lets me have so much creative energy. He just lets me try the line without direction. He sets it up, I knock him down. And if it doesn't fit, we alter it. But for the most part, it's just been, that's it. Okay, that's the one. Sometimes the first one, because you're not thinking too much about it, about redoing it, it just sometimes just comes out the way it needs to come out. Whether it's comedic or whatever. Hearing the Japanese first helps, because then but the length and you can watch the flaps. But that's how I prepare.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's similar and different in a lot of ways. I mean, this isn't the character that I've been portraying myself, but it's existed for a while, so I can always rely on, delivery in a way that, what Jonathan and I call as like Sabbatisms in a way, where there's certain things that the way that he kind of takes punches or hits, or he kind of is that kind of thing that happens, where we're able to incorporate that as much as we can because it is a character that is still that character, aged down. It's not a point in time we've ever seen canonically in a way where we're bridging a gap. So it's fun to kind of play within that pocket of time we haven't seen yet. And you just kind of rely on your training to a certain degree. A punch is a little bit different than a kick. Getting punched should sound a little bit different as well. And I mean, as much as there is classes and training for that stuff too, a lot of it comes down to you like sitting in your shower and your significant other being like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just working right now. I'm not getting beat up by a ghost." So, you know, you just kind of practice and train. And eventually you kind of get the hang of those things. And I'm someone who likes to work really hard, so I always try to find different ways within my own instrument of portraying those sounds and making them unique and very specific. Sometimes that involves punching myself in the leg and being like, what did I just make that sound of? Okay, great, I gotta remember that.
Yeah, sometimes we have to move, like it's not just, it is the voice, but you have to sometimes literally move your body to get those reactions and punches and kicks. I don't know if you, I've knocked over, you know, the stance before in the past, back when we had paper scripts. But yeah, I can't just stand there. I mean, I have to put my whole body into it, and thankfully we have the means to do that. I mean, I know the booth I work in is huge.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna roll out a sleeping bag and sleep here and get up and rock it in the morning. I mean, you know, it's like, it's changed. Technology has gotten really crazy. Quick and easy. So, but do you find yourself moving like this? You know,
I'm sweating basically
yes.
every session, especially fighting sessions. I leave them drenched. And
It's a workout for you.
It is.
Yeah.
It should be, I think, to a certain
Mental
degree. Yeah, and mental one for sure. Yes, very much so.
And in that regard, Dragonball Daima has been this fun little revisit back into their kid selves. And so I think it's even more fun to revisit that and kind of get back into their, like, I'd say fun-loving, like, goofy selves. What was it like going back into that and stepping into their childlike ways?
Yeah, for me personally, it was basically seriously like just riding a bike. Like it's like I had voiced Goku and Gohan as kids for so long, off and on, that they never really left. It's just they were kind of dormant for a while. And thankfully, being a female, you know, a lot of young boy roles are cast, you know, women are cast in those roles for that reason. I mean, the original voice actor in Japan's 88 years old. She's done Goku, Gohan, Goten from the beginning until now, and it's good to know and feel confident in knowing I could come back after 16 years of finishing GT and, like, you know, I can do this. But I understand they wanted me to officially audition to make sure. And I was totally fine with that. Like that's kind of how it's done. So like, yeah, we'll audition. Sure, that's great. Great to be in the mix. Great to be, you know, great to get that phone call and be like, hey, yeah, I am still here. I'm alive. I'm good. You know.
Surprise, you're back.
So for me, it's very cathartic, very surreal, super fun. The comedy's back. The power pole's back. I mean, it's like welcome back to Kid Goku. You know, and then the OG nostalgia part of it is just so endearing, and the fans have been wonderful. Toei Japan listened to you. They got people, who's going to be Kid Goku, you know, bring Stephanie back, and I feel the love, and it's just full circle. It's beautiful. So yeah, and you're doing great, by the way.
Oh gosh.
I love it when we were talking earlier about how sometimes we get to reference our scene and how we're going to deliver it based on what's already been recorded, and sometimes I'll hear Vegeta Mini, or he'll hear me in the headphones, and then you can kind of act off of each other. So that's kind of a benefit, I think, when one of us records first.
Yeah, it's
You've done a wonderful job stepping into Vegeta. I mean, you are now our Vegeta. No pressure. But you're Vegeta Mini. I mean, that's a fantastic role to step into. It, like you said, that you have so much to look back on. So I mean, what's that been like?
I mean, I'll just say this too. It's this character is so important for so many people, and it was an important character for me. And the second I found out about this, thankfully I share the same agent with Christopher Sabat. So I texted my agent. I said, I want to talk to Chris and make sure that this is like cool and that I have his blessing. And he was very, very kind to me, and he was like, he couldn't have been more encouraging to give me his blessing in that way. So that was important for me. And just to be able to do this, it's like you want to honor as much as you can of that character, and also have the freedom to kind of give it your own. He experienced a similar thing, I think, going from, you know, what Brian Drummond had set up, and then kind of finding his voice within that. Not to speak on behalf of him, but having listened to many of his interviews, I believe that to be accurate. But it's surreal. It really is surreal. I still feel like I'm in a fever dream, and I feel like I'm only at the start of it. But it's
You are, trust me, child.
I know.
You are at the beginning of a big career.
Well, that's very kind of you to say.
Yes.
But I just love it, and I love this community, and I love this series, and I love the character, and he's really one of the most fun characters to be able to voice because you get to be as arrogant and prideful and kind of.
He's got the attitude.
He does.
Goku's like, okay, whatever, okay. He's like totally cutting Goku Mini down, and he's just like,
Yeah.
right over his head.
So many fantastic moments as Vegeta just raining on Goku's parade.
Oh, I know.
The jokes never stop. They just keep going.
Oh, right.
What's so fun about Daima, it's just a fun series to jump into. And with that regard, you brought up a good point. The power pole is back. Who was excited to see that come back for Goku? Yeah. A nice throwback. I mean, that was so fun to see. And like I said, I told you guys, this is a Q&A. This is your time to get to know the voice actors and all of their work. So the mic is ready for you guys to come up and ask questions. Oh, floodgates have been opened.
Rapid fire.
Get up here. Let's hear it. We're excited to hear from you. Yes.
Video roll. Hi, my name is Jordan, although I'm actually representing my friend Urban, who couldn't be here today.
Hello.
He's a huge fan from day one to now. I'm so sad he's not being able to be here, but I'm glad to be here representing him. For Stephanie, mainly, you voiced Kid Goku, or past Goku in the past, and he wanted to know, how does it feel to be back? Basically playing the exact same character. And for Paul, you are now taking up pretty big shoes to fill. And how does that feel? It must be exciting.
Yeah, we talked a little about how excited we are, definitely. Definitely is what I choose to say. Thank you very much. Hey, Brandy. So for me, it's very cathartic. 'Cause I was not, my characters all grew up, and then, life happens. And so I didn't know there was going to be a place for me back in the realm of anime, and to be asked back is just such a huge, giant blessing in my life. I mean, and I've always loved it. Was always there doing other things, but I hope I'm doing it justice. I'm just really, like I said, Toei Japan and the fans spoke, and the outpouring of direct messages and fans just coming out and like, I'm reliving my childhood, and it's like, anime mom, I got this, So it's great, and I'm sure you feel the same way. And being a fan and watching, I can definitely sense that you're, I don't want to say mimic, because that doesn't really give it justice, but like you're really taking what was already there and then transforming, because we're kids,
Yeah.
And this is a first for Vegeta to be a mini.
Right.
So it's a mix of characters, of voice actors, and it's a brand new cast too, because we have Glorio and Gordito as Goku never gets it right. And then we've got, Bulma Mini, but we've also got new characters and new villains, new fights, it's the demon realm. Like it's just a whole new world. So we, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I think it's, for Vegeta specifically, I take it, we do this because we want to have fun. We get to play for a living. We literally get to be kids, literally in this project.
For me, a boy, I get to be a boy. This is great.
And I just take it really seriously, but you don't want to lose that fun and that magic that makes it so fun. But I take it seriously, and I think it works well for how serious Vegeta is, but there's moments, I think specifically in this series, where he gets to have fun in his own way, and I do not take it lightly, the position that I'm in. There are people that are clawing at the door behind me to get these types of opportunities, and I just couldn't be more grateful for that. So just trying to work as hard as I can, and I hope you guys like it.
Thank you so
Gotta
much.
do it justice.
Yeah.
Great question. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello, this one's for Stephanie mainly. Is there a moment when originally voicing Gohan, was there like a scene, moment, or line where you felt like you truly understood the character portraying Gohan? Like for me, I think the line that defines like who he is your Bojack line, I'm my father's son. That's my personal favorite. Was there ever one of those?
Well, that one, definitely.
Oh, that one, okay.
That one really stands out, and I end up, it's just an iconic line. I mean, it's like, you forgot one thing, I'm my father's son, forever. And he's wearing his father's gi in that, so that's really cool that and the fans know the difference. Like, I know some people are like, well, why is he black hair, why is he silver? Oh, that's the same character. Oh, really? Well, why they,
Yeah.
So, but for me, it was just the ongoing, for Gohan in particular, definitely the Cell Saga, because he's finally, he's been kind of hanging back and unsure, but he just had enough. And then he had all the support of Goku telepathically speaking to him, it's time to do this. And I'm just a kid! I love that line. He doesn't look or sound like a kid, but he is, really, he's 11. So, for me it was that, and then coming full circle with Kid Goku would be coming back to Daima.
Yeah.
But delivering the line as an adult, but through the voice of a child and the body of a child. So I definitely want to, encompass that he's already an adult up here, but that the goofiness, the silliness, and all of that and the innocence is never left. So for me, that's my answer.
Thank you very much.
Great question. Hello.
Hello. So, throughout the history that you've touched on of voicing Gohan, what would you say is just your favorite thing about his character?
Well, I just have a connection with him being he is my first anime character, and I did start when he was a kid and really kind of was more of on the sidelines, kind of mostly reactions. But he just kind of became part of who I was becoming myself at the time. Having been cast and then losing mom, and then in my own life is kind of I know they're separate, but for me, there's just that emotional connection, and being a creative type, So I hope I answered that correctly. So, but yeah,
All of it.
the line, definitely the line. My personal favorite is "You forced me to awaken my hidden power." He's and he finally understands that as much as he does not want to hurt anybody, he does not want the fighting. He considers it meaningless, but then all of his colleagues teach him, no, it's not a sin to fight for what's right. And so for him, that's kind of a defining moment with Gohan in the Cell Saga.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question. Hello.
So am I just allowed to say something to you guys before I ask my question? I'll keep it short, simple. Stephanie, specifically, my dad here put me on Dragon Ball when I was so little. The first real memory I have of my life, and I reflected on this after Toriyama said his passing, but the first memory I have of my life is the original Legendary Super Saiyan Broly movie. Specifically when he's running at Piccolo, and he hits Trunks and Gohan with the lariat. But all that to say, I grew up with you. I want to thank you for raising me, really. You said it already, anime mom. But you really are. You are such a big part of my upbringing, and I just wanted to thank you personally for that. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Now go clean your room.
I must have driven everyone up the walls when I heard you came back, because I remember I blew up everyone's phone. I'm like, somebody's back.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then for you, Paul, I'm really excited to see you in your role. I haven't started the dub yet, but I'm very excited to see the scene which I shall not name. You know the one. I don't have to say much more than that. I'm very excited to see.
I think we know what you're talking about.
I'm very excited to see what you do. But
Yes.
my question. This is specifically a Stephanie question, but of all the moments, because as you said, you all the way back from the beginning, the very beginning, OG, Z, GT, I guess what little you can speak on of Daima now from what's out, because I assume NDA and all that. What is your favorite? What was your favorite recording? It could be for any reason. Your life at the time, maybe you feel like you impressed yourself, just anything. What was your favorite scene or line to record?
I have to go back to the OG Dragon Ball, just the very beginning, because I had already voiced Gohan, and I don't think I'd gotten through Cell Saga yet, but I was cast as Goku somewhere between young Gohan and the Cell Saga. So going back to, like I said, being that cheerful, fun, silly, not so smart, raised in the woods character of this young boy, there was just so much comedic timing, innocence, and the way he delivered his lines and who he was as a character. It's just like I said, it's cathartic, it's surreal, it's like, it's kind of like I never left and this voice was just dying to come out, and here he is, he's finally getting that opportunity, through my voice, through me. So it's like, so I'd have to say where it all began, you know, just running around carefree, not scared of anything, playing games with his opponents, like, that looked like they could totally crush him with one blow. So I'd have to say Goku, but the Gohan connection was really special in its own way because of how and when it happened in my life. Seeing an intro with a show band, now I'm a voice actor, and it's like, I've been doing voices, I've done mimicking, I've done a lot of that, and I've used my voice in so many different ways. So to be brought into the anime community in such a freaking insanely popular franchise, as we all know now, didn't know then, is just, man, so I'm just really grateful for it. So I guess that's my answer for that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Great question. And just so you guys know, we do have about 6, 7 minutes left, so we'll do some lightning round questions.
Lightning questions.
Yeah.
Really fast. So have during your times, especially with your specific experience of going in your life, did any of you ever have to go through actual emotional tears?
Oh, I mean, in my career, absolutely. I mean,
Like an actual tear scene?
yeah, I mean, many projects come to mind. I mean, I worked on a movie called The First Slam Dunk, and there's a very, very emotional scene in that. And then I even worked on this game, Lost Judgment series. I played this character, June. I mean, there's just like very emotional scenes, and I'm the type of actor, I mean, if I want to try and experience to as close as I can to what the character is, and it may or may not be the same, but you know, you try to mentally get there, and sometimes that results in you bawling your eyes out, and that's what's recorded, you know.
Again, I know we're recording, but your personal experience with your mom and Team Gohan watching Goku die, I think that just resonated really big and helped, especially even when Krillin died and Goku went to Super Saiyan.
Oh yeah, Gohan just lost his friends, and
Yeah,
it's
so
so
watching
loyal.
both of those, and I just wonder if the actual voice actors, do they have to channel that emotion, and it's real life helps, but to actually have tears.
Yeah, because Gohan cries, he genuinely
He
cries.
cries, right?
So it's like, to make it real, you gotta cry. So let's, get into the moment and focus on where you're at with that character in that scene and just rock it out. And definitely the Cell Saga for sure. Feeling that loss and watching so much tragedy and trauma going on around my personal life as a kid, and broken families and step families. And, I really try to grab that and utilize it because I did have that to go on. I mean,
For sure.
yeah. You gotta be a good actor too, but
Yes.
But hey, if you gotta cry and get emotional, let's think about something.
Yeah.
That was a great question. It's something to consider when you're voice acting and watching the show. It makes it that much more special. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for being here first and foremost. My question's pretty quick. Do you get to meet your counterparts, like for you, like Sean Skemmel, or like for you, Chris Sabat, and maybe even the Japanese voice actors? Have you had a chance to actually meet in person?
I mean, I've met them from the beginning days, back when we were a small group of talent. We did multiple voices, and then everything just grew
Yeah, because
like
everyone was
crazy.
like the same.
Yeah, we had cast parties once a year, we hung out together, we were all kind of close to the same age. I don't see them as often as, everybody's kind of got their own thing, everybody lives different places and things, but I do sometimes, and then of course you get an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, we get to these
When you're
conventions
making-
sometimes, so we get to meet those people, and funny enough, I mean, I was going to Comic-Cons when I was younger, and I remember seeing Sean and Chris when I was just, dreaming of being able to do something like this. So, like we said earlier, we don't always get to record together, but sometimes we get to do conventions or premiere
And
opportunities.
meet for the first time.
And meet for the first time like this, like right now, so,
Thank
We're
you so
neighbors,
much.
rightfully so. Thank you.
It's a new core memory for you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Hello.
What was your favorite part of voice acting in Dragonball Daima?
I mean, coming back after so long. I mean, it was literally 16 years since I had done an anime role. And I did some Walla, and I was singing and doing other things, but like to come back to that iconic role, and the fact that it's Akira's last project. It's like, it's a big deal. New York Comic Con, getting to finally announce it and talk about it. And then for you, of course, with you growing up with it.
Yeah, that's, I mean, a huge part of it. But I think just like when we got to record those moments when they are being transformed, like that to me felt like my birth into the series in a way. So it felt like the character was being born as they were like realizing like what the hell's happening.
And that's when we found out is when Kid Goku, well, Goku Mini and Goku Vegeta look at each other like, what do you mean we turned small?
Yeah.
And then, ah, you know.
It's so
that
good.
was the first time for us to do that scene together.
Yeah, very fun.
Great question. Hello. Great costume, by the way.
Thank you. Good to see you guys, Stephanie. And yeah, there's also a question for you guys. Like, I remember when Krillin defeated Bacterium, by the way, which Bacterium puts a lot of Discord mods to shame with his stench. I remember Krillin was reminded, you don't have a nose, Krillin. You can beat him. And then he beat him by just sharting in his face, and then and my question is, do you guys think that Krillin is some sort of mutant or some sort of freak of nature because of the fact that he has no nose? It's like, do you think his parents just went like, oh my god, he has no nose. Let's throw him on the bridge.
He's his own thing, man. I even tease him about it all the time in person. In fact, the first thing I think I remember saying with him when I did his signing was, but you don't know, Krillin doesn't have a nose. And they were talking about Krillin, doesn't have a nose. He can't spell anything. You know, it's like, it's just, I don't know, he's his own thing. He's his own, doesn't have a nose.
Yeah, I mean, he's got dots on his head, and he's got no nose. He's just a very unique character, and, you know.
That's his thing.
Vegeta reacted like, Castro, what the hell does he not have a nose?
I think that's exactly how it is.
Well, and then you got the, you know, what is it, the Namekians, you know, they're completely different race.
Yeah,
but they have a nose.
Right, exactly.
And antennas, right? You know, so.
Great question.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. So I had a quick question. My entire life I grew up watching Dragon Ball, and now I work as a teacher, and I see all of my students, a lot of them running around with Dragon Ball backpacks, action figures, drawing pictures and stuff like that, and I can see myself in a lot of them, and Dragon Ball is one of those shows that really bridges a generational gap. And I was wondering, has there ever been a moment where you thought to yourself, wow, like this is so much further beyond just me or just the people in the room?
I think it's very different for both of us. For me, like I said, I was, you know, singing and traveling with the show band, focusing, you know, almost 100% on my singing and my music and recording and stuff like that. But then, like I said, when I was in Italy in 2000 and saw it on TV in Italian, and then I saw a bunch of Dragon Ball Z merchandise in the souvenir shops, and then the Burger King special with the kids meal, like it just kind of were little reminders. And then I'm thinking, okay, I'm not doing cons anymore, okay, stuff I did years ago. And to be back in the con scene, even like back in 2017, I still didn't understand, but then I got out from the fans and realized why. It's nostalgia, it's what you grew up with. And everybody grows up with something that they latch onto for their escape or for something they just love, whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek, whatever it is. And so for me, it's that.
I think everyone resonates with these characters who will train as hard as they can to overcome like the impossible and to be the greatest, to be the strongest, or whatever. I think we all dream of that in our own way, depending on what the situation is. I remember when I was in college, I was in the gym and I saw these really like buff, you know, football players, and they were talking about like being Piccolo and Vegeta, and I'm like my little scrawny ass being like, you know, doing 10 pounds on the bicep curl, and they're all like lifting these heavy weights, and I'm like, oh, they like the same shit I like. And I'm like, we are all the freaking same. We all like the same shit. And to see now that like we see these popularized comic conventions and people gathering, and it's cool to be a nerd now. That like changed everything.
Yeah, the misfit thing. Even growing up moving around a lot, I never seemed to fit in, and right when they kind of accept me, it'd be time to move again. And so for me, these conventions are where people can come together and meet friends within seconds, just because they have similar interests. And I just think that's amazing. And to bully someone for what they like is just not acceptable.
Yeah.
That's wrong, man. It's wrong.
That's a great question. That's a great point. There used to be a time in which it was not cool to be a nerd, but now look at all of us in the room.
Yeah.
We're nerds, no matter what we look like. There's always a little nerd in there that loves what they love. So don't pick on for it, damn it.
That is right. And hello.
Hello there. Sorry.
You sounds like you're going to end on our panel. Let's hear your question.
I get to be the nervous one, okay.
No?
This question's for you, Stephanie, because as you mentioned before, you get to play a Goku who is an adult but in a child's body, but as we know, it's not the first time you get to do that with the Goku from GT. So I just want to know, are there any differences you've noticed from the Goku you're portraying now versus the Goku you did back then in GT, considering they were both adults in a child's body?
Well, it's similar in the sense that I did keep that in mind when I was delivering the lines. Now I'm in a kid's body, and I already kind of had the practice to do that with GT. So now it's just a matter of encompassing like kind of the whole, as a whole, the whole entire franchise, to try to like capture that emotion, but also be that comedic kid. It still is extremely innocent, not very smart, but pure of heart, and genuinely means well. So it's just a matter of, I have so much to look back on, to draw from when I'm recording. It's like it's already there. It's in my memory. It's in my voice. So I just see it more like, okay, it's kind of the culmination. I'd like to think it's not the end of the end of the end. Hopefully more things will be coming out with his executive producer. So for me, I could look at it from like the whole big picture. And so, but I still try to deliver the lines as an adult with a kid's body, with a kid's voice. And definitely a lot of that comedy is back, full force.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Great question. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the cast of Dragonball Daima, Nadolny and Castro Jr. And if you're still at Megacon this weekend, please visit them at their booth. They have lots of fun things to sign. They'll have great conversations about Dragon Ball and enjoy the rest of your convention.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. See you later. Have a good weekend.